Ma'am, are you lost? The bus stop is 3 blocks down. The words sliced through the pristine showroom air like a blade. Brad Mitchell's smirk widened as he watched the impeccably dressed black woman examining the gleaming $200,000 0 cents Mercedes-AMG GT. Her charcoal designer suit probably cost more than his monthly commission. But he'd already made his judgment. Maybe try the used lot across town, he continued, voice dripping with false concern. More. Suitable for your budget. A customer nearby chuckled, phone camera already recording what would become one of the most viral, real-life stories of corporate justice. This wasn't just another discrimination incident. It was about to become one of those black stories that proves how touching stories emerge from the darkest moments. Security approached slowly, drawn by Brad's theatrical gestures. Have you ever been so completely misjudged that watching someone's face crumble became permanently etched in your memory? Dr. Amara Kingston adjusted her Italian leather purse and continued studying the vehicle's specifications placard. 23 years building automotive empires had taught her patience. The Patek Philippe on her wrist read 2:17 p.m. She had exactly 27 minutes. Sir, I asked about the hybrid drivetrain efficiency ratings. Her voice remained steady, professional. Brad crossed his arms, speaking louder now for his growing audience. Look, I don't want to waste your time. These cars require proof of income, extensive credit checks, insurance verification. Behind him, customer Jenny Morrison continued her Instagram live session, originally meant to document her own car shopping experience. The viewer count climbed steadily. 847, 1,203, 2,891 people watching in real time. This is insane, Jenny whispered to her phone. This woman is dressed better than everyone here, asking intelligent questions, and they're treating her like, is there a problem here? Manager Jerry Hoffman materialized beside Brad, his tone suggesting Amara was the source of any disturbance. The showroom's atmosphere shifted. Other customers abandoned their conversations, gravitating toward the spectacle. Phones emerged from pockets like weapons drawn for battle. No problem, Amara replied. I'm interested in this vehicle's performance specifications, specifically the torque distribution between electric and combustion systems. Jerry's eyebrows shot up. Most customers asked about cup holders and Bluetooth connectivity. That's very technical, he stammered. I find automotive engineering fascinating. Amara opened her purse to retrieve reading glasses, revealing a first-class boarding pass tucked beside her phone. The destination, Frankfurt. Today's date. Brad noticed, but misinterpreted. Flying somewhere nice? Business. The word carried weight he couldn't grasp. Jenny's live stream exploded with commentary. Viewers recognized the signs Brad missed. The subtle confidence, the technical vocabulary, the calm authority radiating from someone accustomed to boardrooms, not showrooms. 22 minutes, Amara noted, checking her watch again. 22 minutes for what? Jerry asked. My next appointment. Security guard Mike Rodriguez hovered nearby, radio crackling with updates from the corporate office. Something about elevated social media activity and brand monitoring alerts. Brad's confidence wavered slightly. He'd built his reputation on reading people, identifying serious buyers versus tire kickers. But this woman's questions were too specific, too informed. Ma'am, these vehicles start at $180,000, 0 cents. The fully loaded models exceed $220,000, 0 cents. That's before taxes, financing, insurance. I'm aware of automotive pricing structures. Amara's interruption was gentle but firm. Her phone buzzed. The caller ID read David Chen, CFO. She declined the call. Popular today, Jerry observed with false joviality. Board meeting preparation. She offered no elaboration. The words hung in the air like an undetonated bomb. Board meetings weren't typical Saturday afternoon activities for most people. But Brad had committed to his narrative. Ma'am, I think there's been a misunderstanding. This is a premium European automotive boutique. We serve a very specific clientele with verified financial credentials. Jenny's viewer count hit 8,432. Comments flooded the screen. This is disgusting. Someone identify this dealership. That woman is handling this better than I would. Car dealership drama. Amara examined the vehicle's interior, running her fingers along the carbon fiber trim. Hand-laid carbon weave. Autoclave cured. BMW's Regensburg facility. Correct? The specificity stunned Jerry into silence. Few people knew manufacturing details that precise. How do you... Industry knowledge. Amara's smile revealed nothing. Brad regrouped, emboldened by growing audience attention. Knowledge is great, but this business runs on capital verification. We can't have people wasting our time with fantasy shopping. Fantasy? The word seemed to amuse her. 18 minutes, she noted. The European sales consultant, Klaus Weber, approached hesitantly. He'd been observing from across the showroom, increasingly uncomfortable with the interaction's tenor. Entschuldigen Sie, sprechen Sie Deutsch? He asked tentatively. Fließend. Ich habe 5 Jahre in München gearbeitet. Amara replied without hesitation, her German flawless and accent-free. Klaus's jaw dropped. Brad stared blankly, understanding neither the question nor response. You worked in Munich? Klaus switched to English, his voice respectful. BMW headquarters, Strategic Partnerships Division. She paused. Wonderful city. The revelation hit Klaus like lightning. BMW's Strategic Partnerships Division dealt with automotive suppliers, manufacturing contracts, and corporate acquisitions. Only senior executives worked there. Jenny's live stream viewer count surged past 15,000. The comments shifted from outrage to anticipation. Something big is happening here. This woman knows way too much. Plot twist incoming. Brad, oblivious to the undercurrents, pressed forward. Ma'am? I'm going to have to ask you to either provide financial documentation or consider other options more suited to your situation. My situation? Amara's voice remained calm, but something steel-like entered her tone. 14 minutes. Jerry's radio crackled again. This time, the voice was urgent. Code yellow. Corporate monitoring social media incident. Advise immediate de-escalation. He glanced at the growing crowd, the phones recording, the tension building like storm pressure. Perhaps we could discuss this privately, he suggested. No need for privacy. Amara's response was firm. Transparency serves everyone's interests. Her phone rang again, same caller. This time, she answered. David, I'm still at the dealership. Execute preliminary research on acquisition target Alpha 7. Full financial analysis. Yes, I'll call you back. She hung up, noticed everyone staring. Sorry. Business never stops. Brad's confidence finally cracked. Acquisition targets weren't typical consumer terminology. What kind of business are you in? He asked. Amara smiled. Automotive. General Manager Susan Torres received the emergency call while reviewing quarterly performance reports in her corner office. Her assistant's voice trembled with barely controlled panic. Ma'am, we have a situation developing on the showroom floor. Corporate's brand monitoring system is lighting up. Something about viral social media content originating from our location. Susan's blood pressure spiked. In today's interconnected world, a single negative incident could destroy years of reputation building. She'd seen competitors devastated by viral discrimination videos. I'll be right down. The elevator seemed to move in slow motion as she descended from the executive floor. Through the glass walls, she could see the crowd gathering around the Mercedes display. Phones held high, recording everything. Jenny Morrison's Instagram Live viewer count had exploded to 28,431 people. The comments section moved too fast to read. A blur of outrage, anticipation, and hashtags spreading like wildfire. Car dealership drama, Justice Watch, retail discrimination. Susan emerged from the elevator with practiced authority, her tailored blazer and confident stride designed to project control. But the scene that greeted her defied easy management. At the center stood an elegant black woman in her mid-40s, examining a $220,000 zero-cents vehicle with the focused attention of someone who understood exactly what she was looking at. Her posture radiated quiet confidence, unshaken by the chaos swirling around her. Brad Mitchell gestured dramatically, playing to his audience like a performer on stage. Jerry Hoffman stood beside him, radio crackling with increasingly urgent updates from corporate headquarters. "What seems to be the issue here?" Susan asked, her voice cutting through the noise. "No issue," Amara replied before anyone else could speak. "I'm shopping for a vehicle. These gentlemen seem concerned about my qualifications as a customer." Susan's experienced eye quickly assessed the situation. The woman's designer suit, expensive accessories, and articulate speech suggested someone of means. But Brad and Jerry's defensive postures indicated they'd already committed to a particular narrative. "Ma'am, I'm Susan Torres, General Manager. I'm sure we can resolve any misunderstanding." "No misunderstanding," Brad interjected. "This person is wasting our time, asking questions about vehicles she clearly can't afford." The crowd murmured. Several customers exchanged uncomfortable glances. Klaus Weber, the European consultant, looked mortified. 10 minutes, Amara noted, checking her watch again. 10 minutes until what? Susan asked. "My conference call begins." Susan's business instincts screamed warnings. Saturday afternoon conference calls weren't typical consumer behavior. Neither was the calm, almost amused way this woman handled obvious disrespect. Jenny's live stream hit 34,992 viewers. She rotated her phone to capture different angles, her whispered commentary providing real-time narration for thousands of invested observers. "The general manager just showed up. This woman keeps checking her watch. Something big is about to happen." "Ma'am," Susan said carefully, "what specific vehicle interests you?" "The AMG GT63S. I have questions about the hybrid system, integration and performance metrics. Technical questions. Specific model knowledge." Susan's anxiety increased. "Those are very sophisticated vehicles," she replied diplomatically. "I'm aware. That's why I'm asking sophisticated questions." Brad laughed mockingly. "Sophisticated questions from someone who probably takes the bus to work." The crowd's energy shifted. What had been curious observation became uncomfortable tension. Several customers looked away, embarrassed by association. Amara's phone buzzed with a text message. She glanced at the screen, smiled slightly, then looked directly at Susan. "Ms. Torres, I understand your employees' concerns about customer qualification. Perhaps we could discuss this more privately." "Actually," Brad interrupted, "I think everyone here deserves to understand what's happening. This is a premium establishment, not a public showroom for window shopping." The words hung in the air like a challenge. Jenny's viewer count surged past 42,000. Comments flooded in faster than the app could display them. Susan felt control slipping away. Every instinct told her to de-escalate immediately, but Brad's public stance made retreat difficult without appearing to contradict her own employee. "Sir," she addressed Brad carefully, "perhaps we should—" "6 minutes," Amara announced. Her phone rang. This time, the caller ID read simply, "Bo." She answered immediately. "Yes, I understand. The acquisition parameters are acceptable. Proceed with Phase 1 due diligence. I'll join the call shortly." She hung up, studied the faces around her with new intensity. Phase 1 due diligence? Susan repeated weakly. Business terminology. Amara's explanation offered no comfort. Security guard Mike Rodriguez approached Susan, speaking quietly but urgently. Ma'am, corporate's calling every 5 minutes. Social media monitoring shows this incident trending nationally. They want immediate resolution. Susan's worst fears materialized. National attention meant corporate intervention, which meant her regional management position faced scrutiny. Ma'am, she addressed Amara with forced professionalism, I apologize for any inconvenience. Perhaps we could start over? No need to start over. Amara's response was matter-of-fact. I asked specific questions about a specific vehicle. Your staff made assumptions about my qualifications. Those assumptions appeared to be driving their responses. Assumptions, Jerry finally spoke. We follow standard protocols for customer qualification. Standard protocols? Amara's eyebrow arched slightly. Interesting phrase. Klaus Weber could no longer remain silent. Entschuldigung, but this lady clearly understands automotive engineering. Her questions are quite sophisticated. Brad whirled on him. Don't encourage this circus. Circus? Amara repeated. Mr. Mitchell, Brad Mitchell, Senior Sales Associate. Mr. Mitchell, in your professional experience, what percentage of customers inquire about hybrid drivetrain torque distribution? The question caught him off guard. That's not typical. No, it's not. It suggests someone with industry knowledge, doesn't it? Susan felt the conversation spiraling beyond her control. Corporate guidelines were clear. Avoid discrimination, de-escalate conflicts, protect brand reputation. But Brad's public stance had created a point of no return. 3 minutes, Amara noted. Her phone displayed 17 missed calls from various numbers. She scrolled through them. CFO mobile, legal, urgent, board secretary, compliance officer. The sheer volume of missed calls from corporate-sounding contacts didn't escape Susan's notice. Ma'am, you seem to be quite busy today, she observed. Saturdays are often the most productive days for strategic planning. Amara paused. Fewer interruptions from routine operations. Strategic planning. Corporate terminology again. Susan's executive training kicked in, recognizing language patterns that suggested business leadership experience. Jenny's live stream peaked at 48,127 viewers. The comments section had become a real-time social justice rally, with viewers demanding the dealership's identification and corporate contact information. This is about to get real. Someone's about to get schooled. That woman is way too calm. Justice is coming. 1 minute, Amara announced. She walked calmly to the center of the showroom, positioning herself where everyone could see and hear clearly. The crowd instinctively formed a circle around her, phones raised like torches at a medieval gathering. Ladies and gentlemen, she began, her voice carrying easily across the space, I believe it's time for some clarity. Her phone rang exactly on schedule. The caller ID read, Conference Bridge, Board Meeting. She answered, her voice shifting into executive mode. David, I'm ready to proceed. Please connect me to the full board. She looked directly at Susan Torres, smiled with quiet authority, and spoke words that would change everything. Execute authorization code Delta 7. Full acquisition protocols. Immediate implementation. The showroom fell silent except for the soft hum of overhead lighting and the distant rumble of traffic outside. Even Jenny's live stream chat seemed to pause, as if 51,000 viewers collectively held their breath. Susan Torres felt her world tilt off its axis. Acquisition protocols weren't customer terminology. They were corporate executive language, spoken by people who bought companies, not cars. David, confirm the preliminary financial analysis is complete. Amara continued into her phone, her voice carrying the unmistakable authority of someone accustomed to giving orders worth millions of dollars. Brad Mitchell's smirk finally faltered. Jerry Hoffman's face went pale. The crowd of customers and staff stood frozen, suddenly aware they were witnessing something far beyond a simple shopping dispute. "Yes, I'm still at the target location," Amara said, her eyes scanning the faces around her. "The cultural assessment is quite revealing. Proceed with Phase 2. She hung up, slipped the phone into her purse, and looked directly at Susan Torres. "Miss Torres, I believe we need to have a conversation." Yes, of course." Susan's voice cracked slightly. "Perhaps we could speak privately?" "Privacy won't be necessary." Amara's tone remained calm, almost gentle. "Transparency serves everyone's interests. As I mentioned earlier." Klaus Weber stepped forward, his European sensibilities finally overriding his professional discretion. "Entschuldigen Sie, may I ask your name?" "Dr. Amara Kingston, CEO, Kingston Automotive Holdings." The name hit Klaus like a physical blow. He stumbled backward, his face cycling through disbelief, recognition, and horror. "Mein Gott," he whispered. Brad looked around frantically. "What? What's Kingston Automotive Holdings?" "Never heard of it." Klaus found his voice. They own the financing company for 60% of our inventory. They hold major stakes in BMW, Mercedes parent company, and..." He swallowed hard. "They control the supply chain for most European luxury automotive manufacturers." The revelation rippled through the crowd like a shockwave. Jenny's live stream exploded with activity as viewers began frantically Googling Kingston Automotive Holdings. $2,700,000,000, 0 cents in automotive investments. CEO Dr. Amara Kingston, Harvard MBA, former BMW executive. Holy shit, this woman owns half the car industry. That salesman is so fired. Susan Torres felt her knees go weak. She'd spent 15 years climbing the corporate ladder, building relationships, protecting her reputation. Now, she stood face to face with someone who could end her career with a single phone call. "Dr. Kingston," she began, her voice barely above a whisper, "I had no idea." "Of course you didn't." Amara's interruption was matter-of-fact. "That was rather the point." Brad, still struggling to process the information, made one last desperate attempt to save face. "Look, I don't care who you claim to be. You came in here acting suspicious, asking weird questions." "Mr. Mitchell?" Amara's voice carried new authority. "In the past 27 minutes, you've made numerous assumptions about my financial capacity, my intelligence, and my right to be treated with basic respect. Would you like to know what those assumptions cost?" She retrieved a tablet from her purse, swiped through several screens, and turned it toward the crowd. "This dealership generates approximately $47 million, 0 cents annually. Kingston Holdings controls the financing for 67% of your inventory through our subsidiary, Atlantic Automotive Credit. Our convertible bonds in your parent company, Europa Auto Group, total $340 million, 0 cents, exercisable at our discretion." The numbers hung in the air like indictments. Susan Torres calculated quickly. Losing Kingston's financing would cripple their operations within 60 days. "But more interesting," Amara continued, "is the social media impact of this interaction. Miss Morrison's live stream has reached 53,000 viewers. The hashtag car dealership drama is trending in 12 major markets. Europa Auto Group's stock price has declined 2.8% in the past 30 minutes. Jenny lowered her phone slightly, suddenly aware of her role in the unfolding drama. I was just documenting my car shopping experience." "And you've documented something much more significant," Amara replied. You've captured a real-time case study in unconscious bias and its consequences. Mike Rodriguez, the security guard, received another urgent radio call. This time, he didn't bother lowering his voice. 10:17 a.m. en route. We have corporate executives en route. ETA 15 minutes. Prepare for immediate crisis management protocols. The words confirmed everyone's growing realization. This was no longer a customer service issue. It had become a corporate crisis, requiring executive intervention. Brad's bravado finally crumbled completely. I didn't know. How was I supposed to know? You weren't supposed to know, Amara replied calmly. That's exactly the point. You were supposed to treat me with the same respect you'd show any potential customer, regardless of your assumptions about my background. She gestured toward the Mercedes that had started this entire chain of events. I came here to purchase this vehicle, a straightforward commercial transaction. Instead, I discovered a culture that prejudges customers based on appearance, rather than treating everyone with equal dignity. Susan Torres found her voice, though it trembled with barely contained panic. Dr. Kingston, please. This isn't representative of our company culture. These are isolated incidents. Are they? Amara's question cut through the excuse. Mr. Rodriguez, your security system records all interactions in the showroom, correct? Mike nodded reluctantly. Excellent. I'd like to review the past 6 months of customer interactions, particularly those involving minority customers. I suspect we'll find interesting patterns. The request hit Susan like a sledgehammer. 6 months of recorded interactions would reveal every discriminatory comment, every assumption, every moment of unconscious bias. That would require corporate approval, she stammered. Which brings us to our immediate situation, Amara said, checking her watch. I have a board meeting in 8 minutes. We can resolve this matter in one of 2 ways. She paused, allowing the weight of her words to settle. Option 1, immediate corrective action, termination of employees who violated basic customer service principles, implementation of comprehensive bias training, public acknowledgement of the problem, and commitment to change. And option 2, Susan asked, though she dreaded the answer. Exercise my conversion rights in Europa Auto Group, demand board representation, and restructure this entire operation from the ground up, beginning with leadership changes. The ultimatum crystallized the stakes. Susan's 15-year career, Jerry's management position, Brad's sales commissions, the entire dealership's future, all balanced on the edge of Amara's decision. Jenny's live stream chat erupted with viewer reactions. Savage businesswoman. This is justice in real time. That CEO just ended their whole careers. Get 'em, girl. Klaus Weber approached Amara hesitantly. Dr. Kingston, I apologize deeply for my colleague's behavior. This does not represent our values. Mr. Weber, you're the only person who treated me with professional respect from the beginning. Your behavior today has been exemplary. The distinction wasn't lost on anyone. Klaus's respectful treatment provided stark contrast to his colleague's assumptions. Amara's phone buzzed with an incoming text. Board assembled, awaiting your connection. 5 minutes, she announced. Ms. Torres, I need your decision. Susan's mind raced through the implications. Option 1 meant admitting fault, accepting public scrutiny, implementing expensive changes. Option 2 meant corporate takeover, guaranteed job loss, complete restructuring. I need to call corporate headquarters, she said desperately. Corporate headquarters is aware of the situation, Amara replied. Europa Auto Group's board received my preliminary report 20 minutes ago. They're waiting for your response. The statement revealed the full scope of Amara's influence. She hadn't just documented the incident. She'd already initiated corporate-level discussions about consequences. Brad Mitchell finally grasped the magnitude of his mistake. Dr. Kingston, I apologize. I made a terrible error in judgment. Yes, you did. Her response carried no emotion, just factual acknowledgement. The question now is whether that error reflects individual prejudice or systemic cultural problems requiring comprehensive reform. Jerry Hoffman stepped forward, his management training finally overriding his initial defensiveness. Ma'am, what specific changes would you recommend? Comprehensive bias training for all customer-facing staff. Revised customer service protocols emphasizing equal treatment regardless of appearance. Regular audits of customer interactions. And immediate consequences for discriminatory behavior. The requirements were reasonable, professional, and absolutely non-negotiable. 3 minutes, Amara noted. Susan Torres realized she had no choice. Corporate headquarters was watching. Social media was documenting everything. And the most powerful person in automotive finance was offering a path forward. Dr. Kingston, we accept option 1, full implementation of your recommendations. Amara nodded. Excellent. I'll need written confirmation within 24 hours. And Mr. Mitchell? Brad looked up hopefully. You're terminated, effective immediately. The private conference room above the showroom had hosted hundreds of mundane business meetings, but nothing approaching the gravity of this moment. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a panoramic view of the city, while the polished mahogany table reflected the tension etched on every face. Susan Torres sat at the head of the table, her 15 years of management experience suddenly feeling inadequate. Jerry Hoffman occupied a chair along the side, his regional manager authority stripped away by circumstances beyond his control. Klaus Weber had been invited to participate, his respectful behavior earning him a reprieve from the corporate reckoning. Dr. Amara Kingston entered the room, carrying herself with the quiet authority of someone accustomed to boardrooms where billion-dollar decisions were routine. She placed her tablet on the table, connected to the room's presentation system, and initiated a video conference that would determine the fate of everyone present. The wall-mounted screen flickered to life, revealing the Europa Auto Group's executive team assembled in their Frankfurt headquarters. CEO Heinrich Volker looked exhausted despite the early evening hour in Germany. Chief Legal Officer Margaret Chen appeared grim, her laptop displaying real-time social media analytics. Chief Financial Officer David Reyes had multiple spreadsheets open, calculating the potential cost of this crisis. Dr. Kingston, Heinrich began, his English carrying a slight accent. We appreciate you taking time to address this situation directly. Time is precisely what we need to discuss, Amara replied, her voice carrying across the conference bridge with crystal clarity. In the past 47 minutes, your dealership has generated approximately $2,300,000, 0 cents, in negative publicity exposure, based on current social media reach and advertising equivalency calculations. She touched her tablet, displaying real-time analytics on the conference room screen. The numbers were staggering. 127,000 live stream viewers, 847,000 hashtag mentions, trending status in 37 metropolitan markets. More significantly, she continued, Europa Auto Group's stock price has declined 3.7% since this incident began trending. That represents approximately $89 million, 0 cents, in market capitalization loss. David Reyes winced visibly. As CFO, he understood that such losses could trigger SEC scrutiny and shareholder lawsuits. Dr. Kingston, Margaret Chen interjected, while we regret this incident, surely market fluctuations are directly correlated to brand reputation incidents, Emre finished. I have Goldman Sachs analysis showing that automotive sector discrimination controversies typically result in 4 to 7% stock price declines, sustained over 6 to 8 weeks. She paused, allowing the implications to sink in. However, rapid corrective action can limit damage to 1–2% temporary decline, with full recovery within 2 weeks. Heinrich leaned forward. What specific corrective actions do you recommend? Amara touched her tablet again, displaying a comprehensive reform proposal. Immediate termination of Brad Mitchell for discriminatory customer treatment, suspension and mandatory bias training for Jerry Hoffman, implementation of company-wide customer service protocols emphasizing equal treatment, quarterly diversity audits across all dealership locations, and $50,000, 0 cents, contribution to minority business development programs. The requirements were specific, measurable, and designed to demonstrate genuine commitment to change rather than superficial damage control. Susan Torres found her voice. Dr. Kingston, these changes would cost approximately $200,000, 0 cents annually in training and monitoring expenses. Ms. Torres, your dealership generates $47 million, 0 cents annually. $200,000 represents 0.4% of gross revenue. By contrast, sustained reputation damage could reduce sales by 15–20%, costing approximately $9 million, 0 cents annually. The mathematics were irrefutable. Corrective action cost significantly less than continued controversy. But there's a larger issue, Amara continued, her tone growing more serious. Kingston Automotive Holdings doesn't simply provide financing for your inventory. We're strategic partners in your parent company's growth plans. She displayed another screen, showing complex financial relationships. Our convertible bonds in Europa Auto Group total $340 million, 0 cents, exercisable at our discretion. Our subsidiary, Atlantic Automotive Credit, provides financing for 67% of your U.S. inventory. Our manufacturing relationships with BMW, Mercedes, and Audi influence their dealer support programs. The web of financial interconnections revealed Amara's true leverage. She wasn't just a customer seeking justice. She was a key stakeholder whose support was essential for Europa Auto Group's North American operations. Heinrich Volker's expression grew increasingly grave. Dr. Kingston, what outcome would you consider satisfactory? Systemic change, not just individual consequences, she replied immediately. This incident reveals cultural problems that extend beyond one dealership, one manager, or one sales associate. She stood, walked to the window overlooking the showroom floor where Jenny Morrison continued her live stream documentation. Mrs. Morrison's video has been viewed 2.1 million times across multiple platforms. The comments reveal thousands of similar experiences from customers who face discrimination at automotive dealerships nationwide. This isn't an isolated incident. It's a symptom of industry-wide cultural problems. Margaret Chen pulled up her own analytics. Our brand monitoring shows similar incidents at 17 other Europa Auto Group locations in the past 18 months. The revelation confirmed Amara's assessment. This wasn't about one dealership's failure, but about systemic issues requiring comprehensive reform. Which brings us to my final requirement, Amara said, returning to her seat. I want board representation. The conference room fell silent. Heinrich Volker exchanged glances with his fellow executives, understanding that Amara was proposing to transform from external critic to internal reformer. Board representation would give you significant influence over corporate policy, David Reyes observed carefully. Exactly. Influence sufficient to ensure these changes are implemented consistently across all locations, not just in response to viral social media incidents. Klaus Weber, who had remained silent throughout most of the discussion, finally spoke. Dr. Kingston, from my perspective as someone who witnessed today's events, your requirements seem both reasonable and necessary. His support carried weight as the only dealership employee who had behaved professionally throughout the crisis. Mr. Weber raises an important point, Amara agreed. Individual accountability matters, but systemic change requires institutional commitment. She touched her tablet once more, displaying a final screen showing detailed implementation timeline. I propose a 6-month pilot program. Immediate implementation of bias training and customer service protocols at this location. Quarterly progress reviews. If results demonstrate genuine culture change, we expand the program to all Europa Auto Group dealerships. Heinrich leaned back in his chair, calculating the implications. Board representation for Amara would bring automotive industry expertise and significant financial resources. But it would also mean ongoing scrutiny and accountability for diversity initiatives. "And if we decline your proposal?" he asked. "I exercise my conversion rights, demand immediate board seats through our existing bond holdings, and implement changes through corporate governance rather than voluntary cooperation." The alternative was corporate warfare, expensive, disruptive, and ultimately less favorable to Europa Auto Group's current leadership. Margaret Chen spoke quietly with Heinrich in German, their conversation rapid and intense. After several minutes, Heinrich nodded. "Dr. Kingston, we accept your proposal. Board representation, comprehensive reform program, and immediate implementation of corrective measures." Amara smiled for the first time since entering the dealership. "Excellent. I'll have our legal team draft the formal agreements." She paused, looking directly at Susan Torres. "Mrs. Torres, you'll remain as general manager, but with expanded responsibilities for diversity initiatives. Consider this an opportunity to demonstrate leadership in cultural transformation." Susan felt a mixture of relief and trepidation. Her job was safe, but her future performance would be closely monitored by someone with the power to reshape her entire industry. "Mr. Hoffman, you'll participate in executive bias training and serve as regional coordinator for the new customer service protocols. Your experience will be valuable in identifying potential implementation challenges." Jerry nodded gratefully, understanding that his suspension was temporary and his future remained viable. "And Mr. Mitchell?" Heinrich asked. "Terminated immediately, with documentation of discriminatory behavior in his permanent employment record," Amara replied without hesitation. "Some actions require clear consequences." The video conference ended with handshakes, signed agreements, and commitments that would reshape customer service practices across one of the world's largest automotive retail networks. As the executives departed, Amara remained in the conference room, looking down at the showroom where Jenny Morrison was concluding her live stream with a summary of the unprecedented events she'd documented. From discrimination to corporate reform in under 2 hours. It was, she reflected, exactly the kind of transformation that required both individual courage and institutional power to achieve. 6 weeks later, the transformation was visible from the moment customers entered Europa Auto Group dealerships. Gone were the subtle hierarchies that had previously determined who received premium service. In their place stood a systematically redesigned customer experience that treated every visitor as a valued potential client. Brad Mitchell's termination had been swift and absolute. His final paycheck included a notation that would follow him to any future automotive employer. Terminated for discriminatory customer treatment. The industry's tight-knit network ensured the information traveled quickly, effectively ending his career in luxury automotive sales. Jerry Hoffman emerged from his mandatory bias training as an unexpected champion of reform. His transformation from defensive manager to diversity advocate proved that people could change when given proper education and motivation. He now led monthly workshops for regional managers, sharing hard-earned insights about unconscious bias and its business costs. The most valuable lesson, he told a gathering of Europa Auto Group executives, was understanding that respect isn't earned by customers. It's owed to them from the moment they walk through our doors. Susan Torres discovered that her expanded role as diversity coordinator enhanced rather than hindered her management effectiveness. Customer satisfaction scores increased 23% across her region as staff embraced protocols that emphasized equal treatment regardless of appearance, accent, or perceived economic status. The monitoring system Dr. Kingston had requested proved invaluable. Customer interaction recordings revealed patterns that had been invisible to traditional management oversight. Staff members who consistently provided respectful service to all customers received recognition and advancement opportunities. Those who showed discriminatory tendencies received additional training or, in persistent cases, termination. Klaus Weber's career flourished under the new system. His consistent professionalism, regardless of customer demographics, made him a natural mentor for newer employees. He developed a training module based on his European experience, emphasizing that luxury service meant treating every customer with dignity and respect. The financial impact exceeded all projections. Europa Auto Group's stock price not only recovered but reached new highs as investors recognized the company's proactive approach to diversity and inclusion. The reforms attracted positive media coverage, customer loyalty, and top-tier talent who wanted to work for an organization with demonstrated values. Dr. Kingston's board appointment brought immediate credibility to Europa Auto Group's transformation efforts. Her quarterly presentations to shareholders included detailed metrics showing the correlation between respectful customer service and increased sales performance. "Dignity drives dollars" became her signature phrase, supported by data showing that dealerships with the highest customer satisfaction scores, regardless of demographic mix, consistently outperformed locations that relied on traditional qualifying approaches. The $50,000 0-cent contribution to minority business development programs generated unexpected returns. Several program participants became Europa Auto Group customers, bringing friends and family members who had previously avoided luxury automotive dealerships due to past negative experiences. Jenny Morrison's live stream had become a case study in business schools across the country. Her accidental documentation of discrimination and subsequent corporate transformation illustrated how social media accountability could drive positive institutional change. "I just wanted to buy a car," she reflected in follow-up interviews. "I never imagined I'd document a complete corporate culture transformation." The ripple effects extended throughout the automotive industry. Competing dealerships, aware of Europa Auto Group's improved performance metrics, began implementing similar customer service protocols. What started as crisis management became competitive advantage, then industry standard. Most significantly, the changes proved sustainable. Monthly audits showed consistent improvement in customer satisfaction across all demographic categories. Staff turnover decreased as employees appreciated working in an environment that valued professionalism over prejudice. The Mercedes-AMG GT63S that had sparked the entire controversy was eventually purchased by Dr. Kingston, delivered with full ceremony by Klaus Weber. The transaction was professional, respectful, and utterly routine, exactly as it should have been from the beginning. 3 months after that transformative Saturday afternoon, Europa Auto Group had become an industry leader in customer service excellence. The changes initiated by Dr. Amara Kingston's unwavering response to discrimination had created a template for corporate accountability that extended far beyond automotive retail. The personal cost of prejudice became clear through Brad Mitchell's trajectory. Unable to secure employment at any major automotive dealership, he eventually found work selling used cars at a small independent lot. His income dropped by 70%. His reputation was permanently damaged, and his career in luxury automotive sales ended completely. Jerry Hoffman's transformation proved more inspiring. His leadership in diversity training programs earned him promotion to Regional Operations Director, with responsibility for implementing customer service excellence across 12 dealership locations. His personal journey from defensive manager to diversity champion demonstrated that accountability could lead to growth rather than punishment. Susan Torres thrived in her expanded role, eventually earning promotion to Corporate Vice President of Customer Experience. Her success illustrated how crisis could become opportunity for leaders willing to embrace change rather than resist it. Klaus Weber was promoted to sales manager, his respectful professionalism serving as the gold standard for customer interactions. His European perspective on luxury service, focused on dignity rather than discrimination, became the foundation for company-wide training programs. Dr. Kingston's board position allowed her to drive systemic changes across Europa Auto Group's 200-plus dealership locations. Customer satisfaction scores increased 31% company-widely, while sales performance reached record levels, as word-of-mouth recommendations replaced the anxiety many customers had previously felt when shopping for luxury vehicles. The broader impact resonated throughout American retail culture. The Kingston Standard became shorthand for customer service approaches that prioritized respect over assumptions. Business schools added her case study to their curricula, illustrating how individual courage combined with institutional power could drive meaningful social change. Jenny Morrison parlayed her accidental documentation into a career as a social justice advocate, using her platform to highlight discrimination in retail environments and celebrate businesses that demonstrated genuine commitment to equal treatment. The transformation proved that touching stories of justice don't require violence, public humiliation, or revenge fantasies. Real change comes from holding people accountable while providing pathways for growth and improvement. These are the real-life stories that matter most, not because they confirm our anger about discrimination, but because they demonstrate how Black stories of resilience can inspire systemic transformation. When courage meets preparation and authority, individual incidents become catalysts for institutional change. Dr. Kingston's approach showed that true power lies not in retaliation, but in using knowledge, influence, and strategic thinking to create lasting reform that benefits everyone. Have you witnessed similar injustices in retail environments? Share your experiences in the comments below. Your story might inspire someone else to stand up for respectful treatment. Subscribe for more life stories that prove dignity and preparation can triumph over prejudice. Share this video with someone who needs to see that justice is possible when we refuse to accept discrimination as normal. Together, we can make respectful customer service the standard, not the exception.